Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
Single best idea. And we could have had many voices today. Very strong Monday for the end of August. The team just did a great job getting smart conversations. Henrietta Trey's was just on fire in studio with Veda Partners on the political moment of the nation. But without question, the conversation of the day was with the great optimist Edward Yardeni of Yardeni Research. There's two ways to look at this. The first is that I was at Jackson Hole and I spent more time there than ever talking about nominal GDP, the combination of real GDP and inflation. So if you have buoyant nominal GDP, is it because you're getting real economic growth over inflation, or you have the same nominal GDP from okay economic growth but more buoyant, larger inflation? Here's Ed Yardeni on how it doesn't matter.
Revenues are revenues. The PE times E is done in nominal terms, and the E is in nominal terms. So that's correct. We look at revenues, and then we look at earnings, and the implication is profit margins. And what we see in the data is that the first and second quarter earnings were remarkably strong, much stronger than expected. There usually is a positive earnings surprise, but it was particularly strong in both quarters. And now, during the second quarter, we have earnings on the S&P 500 at an all-time record high. No wonder the stock market is at an all-time record high. Of course, it helps that the valuation multiple is elevated at 22. But I'm thinking the bull market continues here on earnings. And I think that earnings will continue to push stock prices higher.
Later in our conversation, Ed Yardeni extrapolating out, but in a very sound, not mathematical, but almost fundamental basis. This is the first time I've ever modeled this. While Ed was talking, and I think Paul Sweeney saved me and had a brilliant question, I was on the Bloomberg doing the interpolation of if you have a certain number for the Standard & Poor's 500, it's mathematically better index. But if you bring that over to what we're wedded to, which is the Dow Jones Industrial Average, what number do you get? Let's listen to Ed Yardeni on the Standard & Poor's 500 end of decade.
If you just kind of take normal assumptions of what the economy can deliver and has delivered in the past, you get to 10,000 on the S&P 500 by the end of the decade. That's the end of 2029. And the assumption there is that earnings expectations get up to $400 a share. And again, that's all pretty straightforward, consistent with the kind of growth rate of 6, 7, 8% that we've seen in earnings over the years. And if we get better than that, the market could very well close even higher than that.
I can't convey how lonely that discussion is. That's the first time I've heard SPX 10,000 by, let's call it 12/31/29. I've never thought about 2029. I'll be like 67 years old then. But what it comes down to is, what does that mean for the Dow? And the answer is SPX 10,000 is in the vicinity of Dow 70,000. I've never framed that. I got to go back and do more work on this. We'll be here all week, exciting week to say the least, on podcasts, on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube podcasts. A single best idea.